What's something that didn't kill you and actually made you stronger? I grew up in a violent alcoholic home. My father made a paddle 24 inches long, 6 inches wide and an inch thick with a wonderful handle. He called it the umpire. Everything was a capital offense. In the second grade I received a B in conduct, anything less than an A was unsatisfactory. So, every night for a month I was forced to strip in front of my mother and sisters and beaten with the paddle 10 to 30 times. This continued for many years. School life didn't help. One day, I was just minding my own business at my lunch table when some kid I had never spoken to before walked up and stood over me. He was basically quivering. In school I was treated like a landmine. I never went out of my way to hurt someone. In fact, I tried to treat everyone with kindness because I knew what it felt like to be treated like dirt. Everyone kind of just expected me to be some monster. To be fair, I carried myself in a way that made me look unapproachable because I just wanted to be left alone for the most part. But I didn't necessarily want people to be scared of me. I was also known for getting into a lot of scuffles in school. I didn't know how to handle my emotions or resolve conflicts with anything other than violence. I wonder why. Anyway, this kid was now standing over me in my lunch. He took the chocolate milk from my tray and put it up to his mouth with shaky hands. I don't know what stopped me from pummeling him right then and there. I think it was because I could sense he wasn't behind this. He took a sip and put it back down on my tray. We didn't exchange words. He just put his head down and walked back to a table of laughing boys. At the center of the table was this kid named Eric. Eric had been one of the only people to give me trouble in my days at the school. He would make sly remarks about my home life and make fun of me with his buddies. He was smart about it though. Or maybe he was just a coward because he would never do it to my face. When the chocolate milk thief returned to the table I saw the laughing guys pull his book from under the table. Eric must have told him that he could only have his book back after he had pulled this dumb prank on me. I didn't say anything then. I waited until school was out. After last period I sprinted to the front entrance because I knew Eric's parents picked him up from the car line out there. I stood to the right of the door and waited. When he finally walked out I tapped him on the shoulder and waited for him to see my face before I slapped him. I slapped him so hard that his lip split. I expected him to punch me in the face in retaliation but all he did was sniff back a few tears and run for the nearest teacher. Within the hour I was in the principal's office. She was a serious stickler but she had a soft spot for me. We had our fair share of encounters throughout my career. Usually, she would tell me that violence wasn't the answer and send me on my way. This time she had a look on her face that told me things were going to end differently. She let me know that I could no longer attend the school. I could transfer or just drop out but I couldn't stay there. Initially, I felt relief. I didn't even like going to school. I had already had a job at the local grocery store so I could just go full time. Then I thought about my parents and what they would think. I knew the school had to make a call home in situations like this. I was filled to the brim with fear as I approached my front door that day. When I stepped into the house my mom was waiting for me in the living room. She had the umpire in her hand. I assumed my position to take a beating almost instinctively. After about 3 hits a thought crossed my mind. My little sister was probably watching from somewhere in the house. I didn't want her to have to go through this anymore. Maybe it was the fact that I had just been expelled. Maybe I felt like I was no longer a child. Whatever it was, when my mom pulled the umpire back to slam it into me again, I put up my arm to block it. She hit my elbow and the paddle broke. I lost my balance and fell. She became enraged. She was screaming and started kicking me so I rolled into a ball until she was finished. I don't know if he just heard my mother screaming or if she called him over. But 2 minutes later my father grabbed me. Now he was screaming too. I tried to break free to my room on the second floor. He followed me like a little barking dog, berating me the whole way there. I was 17 at that point and slightly bigger. When we got to the top of the stairs, I snapped. I grabbed his shirt and slammed his head into the wall. I desperately wanted to hurt him. I was filled with years of pent-up rage and aggression. I stepped back and started to throw him down the stairs. I wanted to end him. As I stood there holding him I looked down the stairs to see my mother and sisters crying. My blind rage faded. I calmly let him go. In total silence I walked to my room, grabbed a few clothes, and left the house. I took a full-time position at the grocery store and couch surfed until I got my own place about a year later. After that, I got my GED and I'm currently working on starting my own business. I haven't seen my family since. My biggest regret in life is leaving my sister with them.